the loving calm of your arms, étreinte embrace. The gesture of the amorous embrace seems to fulfill for a time the subject's dream of total union with the loved being. Besides intercourse, when the image repertoire goes to the devil, there is that other embrace, which is a motionless cradling. We are enchanted, bewitched. We are in the realm of sleep without sleeping. We are within the voluptuous infantilism of sleepiness. This is the moment for telling stories, the moment of the voice which takes me, siderates me. This is the return to the mother. In the loving calm of your arms, says a poem set to music by Dupac. In this companionable incest, everything is suspended. Time, law, prohibition. Nothing is exhausted, nothing is wanted. All desires are abolished, for they seem definitively fulfilled. Constantin Brancusi was a Romanian sculptor who came to play a huge part in European modernism at the start of the 20th century. He spent a lot of his working life in the then artistic epicenter of Paris, spending time around the famed artists and intellectuals that were flocking there. We're talking Amedeo Modigliani, Ezra Pound, Gertrude Stein, Marcel Duchamp, Peggy Guggenheim. These are the darlings of the Western cultural canon. I mean this in the whitest modernist sense, but that's the story for another day. Today we will be looking at The Kiss. Brancusi made a number of versions throughout 1907-8. The Kiss depicts two figures in one block of stone, carved out with minimal detail to show a tight embrace. They are cocooned. They are one solid shape, practically a single figure. Their oblong bodies are simplified and weighty, reflecting the stone from which they are made. The two indelicate bodies surround the climax of the work, the kiss. Two tender sets of lips form a tunnel from one to the other, as the pinpoint centre to the whole, which presents itself otherwise more obtusely as an embrace. The kiss is shared between them. It's their secret, their private moment. They smother each other in absolute and mutual proximity. Everything is suspended. The style is barbaric, simplified. It is not supine chromy metal like some of his other brass works. This is earthly. It is ahistoric. It is fundamental and grounded. There is no polish. This is real and tangible matter. Being of the avant-garde, Brancusi was rejecting the elaborate histories of sculpture. The ornate and grand marble sculptures of the centuries before him are disregarded here. Instead, the kiss resembles something as old as the Stone Age. The depiction of the kiss at this point in art history was hardly groundbreaking, but we could argue it is its very agelessness which holds the appeal as a subject. The kiss in art can be saccharine, grand, political again, marketable. Roland Barthes' Fragments, a Lover's Discourse dissects the language of being together and apart in love. The lover exists because of their partner. In Fragments, the narrator in fact cannot handle being without the other, being unable to function without the lover present, riddled with jealous and manic thoughts. Brancusi's pair here are in unison, taking up any possible negative space between them, forming one solid whole. The two are the equal of the other. They are two and the same in stature, shape, material, space. Although made of stone, the lips that form the kiss appear plushy. Their arms are squeezing one another so tight that they now resemble rubber bands. Is this the apogee of love, or an act of smothering, as Barthes' narrator would make us think? What makes this version of the work so alluring, I think, is its relatability. Other than the manner in which their hair is styled, the two bodies are practically sexless. At the same time, the work tussles with sexuality, as they don't appear to be wearing any clothes. Are they in loving naked embrace, or are they two sexless cuboids with eyes, hair, and lips? Are they male, female, they, them? Either figure could really be either. and this gives the work not only a timeless but also universally relatable aspect that I think makes the work so beautiful. A relationship in any iteration can impose their own image onto this, apart from thruples. We can think of a later work by David Hockney titled We Two Boys Together Clinging, inspired by the Walt Whitman poem of the same name. This work similarly depicts two seemingly sexless rectangular figures. However, Hockney deliberately genders these beings as a political statement on homosexuality, at a time during which it was socially unacceptable, to say the very least. He appeals to the common affection of giving and receiving love between one another. Anyway, back to Brancusi. As a defiance of my imposed ideas upon the genderless nature the work could present itself as, there were other versions made of the kiss. The beloved couple is on display in the Cimetière de Montparnasse. This version features one of the figures with a clearly protruding breast. Perhaps they are a male assigned at birth with gynecomastia? Or maybe these sexless oblongs are in fact gendered, which wouldn't be a surprise as Brancusi did live in very heteronormative times. There was speculation over his own sexuality, and some believe he spent his life hiding his being gay. The kiss, or le baiser en français, is on view in the cemetery still. That being said, it had not always been open to the public. In recent times, it was subject to an international art feud. Let's start from the beginning. Commissioned in 1909 for the modest price of 200 francs by the then little-known Romanian artist, the kiss was purchased by a Romanian doctor named Solomon Marbe to decorate the grave of his lover Tatiana Rajevskaya, a Russian student who took her own life. The Cimetière kiss was then in the spotlight around 2007, when Brancusi's Bird in Space sold for $27 million. Suddenly, buyers were interested in the gravestone, which had grown to be a beloved landmark in the south of Paris over the past near 100 years. The work was even covered with a box in 2018, to many Brancusi lovers' dismay, with a sign reading Interdiction absolue de s'approcher et de toucher la sépulture. However, ultimately the people won and the French court ruled it would remain a public monument. It remains on display to this day. I wanted to include a short aside as we'd reached the end of our discussion. I came across Charles Demuth during the process of research for this video. In particular, Demuth's A Distinguished Heir. Charles Demuth was one of America's first openly gay male artists, so a pretty big deal in terms of queer history. This painting depicts a male couple admiring Brancusi's Princess X on a podium. They look up whilst proudly hand in hand. Whether Brancusi swung this way or that is as relevant as you choose it to be depending on how Barthesian you are. I'm referring, of course, to the death of the author. The point is, there was a new sexuality in the air as boundaries were being broken in the era of modernism by the artists at the start of the 20th century. And here it is, Brancusi's Princess X, a work which is meant to have been depicting a woman's head tilted introspectively with an exaggerated and sinuous neck, the nape of which ends at two of the smoothest breasts I've ever seen. Brancusi said this of his Princess X: "My statue is of woman, all woman rolled into one, Goethe's eternal feminine reduced to its essence. For 5 years I worked, I simplified, I made the material speak out and state the inexpressible. For indeed, what exactly is a woman? Buttons and bows with a smile on her lips and paint on her cheeks. That's not woman. To express that entity, to bring back to the world of the senses that eternal type of ephemeral forms. I spent 5 years simplifying, honing my work, and at last I have, I believe, emerged triumphant and transcended the material. Besides, it is such a pity to spoil a beautiful sculpture by digging out little holes for hair, eyes and ears. And my material is so beautiful, with its sinuous lines that shine like pure gold and sum up in a single archetype all the female effigies on earth. We have to be aware of the fact that the women, or all women, in Brancusi's statement here are being spoken for. The image of the woman is fetishized, and her voice is silenced. Or was this early 20th century view on what it is to be female simply a cover-up for what is essentially a very expensive dildo? To sigh for the bodily presence, the two halves of the androgyny sigh for each other, as if each breath, being incomplete, sought to mingle with the other, the image of the embrace, in that it melts the two images into a single one.